Nursing 431, Hypothesis. The course learning outcomes include develop a proposal for a project that will resolve a problem in a professional work area, integrate knowledge from other disciplines when utilizing the nursing research process, apply critical thinking when relating nursing research to practice. The weekly learning outcomes include identify the process of critiquing problem statements and research questions, identify the process of critiquing the literature review section of research articles, identify the process of critiquing the framework section of research articles, describe classifications of hypotheses, which I hope this will help you do, identify sources of nursing research problems, conduct a literature search on specific topics, obtain references from scholarly resources, extract pertinent information from literature sources, and write research questions for a proposed nursing study. Hypotheses serve several purposes. They lend objectivity to investigations, test theoretical propositions, and advance scientific knowledge. They guide research design, dictate the type of statistical analysis used, and show the reader the researcher's expectations about the study. Hypotheses are more important than ever in this day of evidence-based nursing practice. A researcher should be able to state the source or rationale for each hypothesis, whether it comes from personal experience, theories, or from previous research studies. The most important source of a hypothesis is the theoretical or conceptual framework developed for the study, in which the researcher isolates a propositional statement from the study framework and tests it empirically. Hypotheses for nursing research studies can be derived from the findings of other studies. Hypotheses may be derived from a nurse's personal experiences or observations. Hypotheses may be classified as simple or complex. A simple hypothesis concerns the relationship between one independent and one dependent variable. A complex hypothesis concerns a relationship in which two or more independent variables, two or more dependent variables, or both are being examined in the same study. The researcher should determine if the study necessitates a complex hypothesis or whether it is better to divide into two or more simple hypotheses. Hypothesis may be classified as research hypothesis or null hypothesis. A null hypothesis predicts that no relationship exists between variables and tests this hypothesis statistically. A research hypothesis states the expected relationship between variables. The research hypothesis may also be called a scientific or theoretical hypothesis. Research hypothesis may be either directional or non-directional. A non-directional research hypothesis predicts that a relationship exists between variables without predicting the direction of the relationship. A directional research hypothesis predicts the type of relationship between the variables. Directional hypotheses have the advantage of making the researcher's expectations clearer, allowing more precise testing of theoretical propositions and allowing the use of one-tailed statistical tests. Non-directional hypothesis may be used when a study is not theory-based and therefore no prediction can be made, or when previous study findings related to the relationship between variables have been contradictory. A hypothesis should be written in a declarative sentence in present tense, contain the population and the variables, reflect the problem statement, and be empirically testable. Hypotheses, like problem statements that contain more than one variable, are usually written in the form of a correlational statement or a comparative statement to permit proper statistical analysis. A directional research hypothesis should contain a predictive term such as less, greater, decrease in, or negative correlation. A hypothesis is used to test only a proposition of a theory, not the entire theory, and neither hypothesis nor theories are ever proved or disproved. By either supporting or rejecting null and research hypothesis, the theory from which the hypotheses are derived is either supported or not supported. Hypotheses are needed only when the relationship between variables is being studied. Qualitative, single variable descriptive, and methodological studies do not test hypotheses. Research questions may be used in place of a hypothesis in certain studies, or they may be posed in addition to the hypothesis relating to other areas of interest concerning the study topic. The hypothesis and research questions in a published research report should be carefully critiqued, looking at a number of factors. In order to critique hypothesis and research questions, you should ask yourself, does the study contain a hypothesis or a hypothesis? Is each hypothesis clearly worded and concise? Is it written in declarative sentence? Is each hypothesis directly tied to the study problem? Is the study framework clearly defined with each hypothesis derived from it? Does each hypothesis contain the population and at least two variables? Is each hypothesis stated as a directional research hypothesis? If not, is a rationale given for the type employed? Is it apparent that each hypothesis can be empirically tested? Does each hypothesis contain only one prediction?